Hello, and welcome to Coffee on Korriban. Well, I hate to say that I was right, but I was right. So, I theorized in my last stream that everything we've been seeing with the Book of Boba Fett trailers has been taking place in the first episode only. It's all located right there on Tatooine, maybe some flashbacks, but it's right there. So, I was correct, and there's an article that just came out that confirms it, and we're going to get into it. And I got a special guest. We're going to get into it. If you're brand new to the channel, welcome, and I hope you enjoy your time here. SusTea, how hyped are you for the Book of Boba Fett?
I'm very excited. Very, very excited. Almost as much as I was for Mandalorian.
Okay, so why not as much? Because I am more hyped than I was for the Mandalorian, and
Okay.
even more hyped than I was for the Bad Batch, which I was really hyped for the Bad Batch. So
Right, okay.
so why not as much as the Mandalorian?
I'm gonna say because the Mandalorian, it was a brand new thing that had never come out before, especially from Disney. You know, that type of show showing the
Okay.
like the realisticness behind Star Wars and what actually happens to real people that aren't Jedi or clones. You know.
Okay.
And so I was
So-
super excited because it was new. You know.
Right. So there's not as much novelty to the idea of having a live action Star Wars show with the
Exactly.
Book of
I'm
Boba. Okay.
very excited for Boba Fett himself.
Right.
But the idea of the show, I'm super blasted about. Like, I'm super excited, but just slightly less than Mandalorian.
That's completely fair. I don't know about you, but I'm ready to go on this hype train. I'm so ready. Like every trailer that's come out, every little teaser spot has only been 30 seconds, the last few of them.
Right.
But we're getting such new information each one. It's blowing my mind. So I'm ready. I'm assuming you're ready.
Oh yeah.
All right, you got to finish this for me. Chugga 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 chugga.
Choo choo.
Okay, there we go. All right,
Go.
we're going to get into this article in a little bit. And like I said in the intro, I theorize that everything we've been seeing in these trailers, in these TV spots, has been taking place in the very first episode. I was correct. So this article we will be reading, let me add it right here, is from The Hollywood Reporter. Not that I read them or anything. And we're just going to read this and break it down and talk about it. And so it says, How the Book of Boba Fett Will Shake Up Star Wars. Director and showrunner Robert Rodriguez takes us inside Disney Plus's ultra-secretive new Mandalorian spinoff, which is a little telling that they don't really exactly know what they're talking about, that it's a Mandalorian spinoff. I mean, it kind of is, I guess, but it's just another show. We're not even promised that it's completely tied into the Mandalorian at all. But this is a quote from Robert Rodriguez saying, "We couldn't believe what we got to do." So it starts out, most people working at Disney Plus had no idea this was coming. When the second season finale of The Mandalorian aired on December 18th, 2020, a mid-credits scene revealed a spin-off series titled The Book of Boba Fett. That this happened just a week after Disney had revealed 10 new Star Wars shows in development during its Investor Day livestream made the announcement all the more baffling. Didn't the company just present a Star Wars slate? Is The Mandalorian canceled? Confused reports flooded the email inboxes of equally confused publicists, and showrunner Jon Favreau was quickly booked on Good Morning America to clear things up. So do you remember that? When all that was going down, there was all of the shows. This is before the Bad Batch. So all the shows that they announced for the lineup for the next few years, you know, we got the Acolyte and or Ahsoka. Book of Boba Fett was not on that list. And then the Book of Boba Fett came at the end of chapter 16 of The Mandalorian, which had a very nice, tight, concise bow that it ended up being wrapped up into, with Grogu going off with Luke. And of course, the reveal of Luke Skywalker was amazing. So a lot of people were questioning, is The Mandalorian done? Is there a season 3? Is it now being called the Book of Boba Fett? There's a lot of questions about that, which eventually in the following weeks and months got cleared up. And now we know that they're different shows. They are still going with Mandalorian season 3 last that I heard, but right now we are getting the book of Boba Fett. Do you remember all that confusion?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was a little, could have been marketed better. And it's weird that they announced like 10 shows, but not the book of Boba Fett. So I'm hoping that it's a signal that there is something really special
Mm-hmm.
in this show if they're being that secretive about it. And we know they can be that secretive about it because the two biggest twists, other than I am your father in Star Wars, were the existence of Grogu
Mm-hmm.
and the return of Luke Skywalker, and none of that leaked,
Mm-hmm.
which is insane in today's day. So we're going to fast forward here a little bit. This is a quite long
This is a great time to take a sip.
article. Yeah, go ahead and take a sip. All right, so I'll jump in right here. For the 53-year-old Rodriguez, a longtime Star Wars fan, the experience was like being inducted into the Jedi Order. I can't even say this is a dream come true because I wouldn't have even thought to dream this, he said during his sit down at Troublemaker Studios in Austin. So he directed Alita Battle Angel, which I have not seen, but I think you have, right?
I have not, and I will not, because I do not like the animation. Okay, and I'll give you another reason.
But your dad,
My dad loves it. He loves the movie because the TV and everything, 4K, Ultra HD, all that kind of stuff. He loves the movie. Another reason why I won't watch it is because it is apparently the one I'm basing it off of is a spin-off of Alita, but I grew up watching Astro Boy. I don't know if you remember that, but it was a animated movie about a boy who dies and gets his dad is very wealthy and remakes the kid as a robot, part robot, right? And then eventually he gets thrown down to the Undercity, which isn't as there's just a couple scavengers down there, and then he fights his way back up top and has to defeat a robot. Anyways, stuff like that, which is somewhat the premise of Alita, from what I've heard, and that's another reason why I won't watch it. So,
because it's just a carbon copy, but not even carbon.
It's not even a copy because Astro Boy copied Alita, but
it's like a lead copy. I don't know. Anyway, let's continue with this article. Carbonite copy. So Rodriguez says, I usually avoid premiere properties. You'll never be able to please everybody. It's a losing game. I'd rather go do something I've created so nobody can say, hey, that's wrong, because I created it. So it can be anything that I want it to be. I love that freedom. That changed with Boba when he was a character that was always underserved. It was a character way more popular than he should have been based on his limited screen time, which is true. There's a lot more hype about Boba before the announcement of this show than really was warranted with what we saw on screen. So it's almost like starting with an original character. You can kind of do anything you want as long as you make him cool and don't make him a buffoon. I think that is a direct shot at Jake Skywalker, if you know what I mean.
Okay, I have a little input here.
Okay.
My personal opinion on Boba Fett in general. He was awesome. Him and Jango Fett, like in my mind as a kid growing up, they were equal. Obviously, now I know that Jango was the dad.
Right, but also you have to keep in mind think back to before the prequels when we didn't even see Kid Boba. All we saw was what we get in Empire Strikes Back.
Right.
And Return of the Jedi.
That's a scary figure. He doesn't get much screen time like you said, but like he is the bounty hunter, right?
Right, but as far as like the following he had and the people saying he was the best was kind of just filling in the gaps in people's minds. It wasn't really anything we directly saw on screen other than kind of his notoriety that was portrayed on the screen, kind of told to us.
Right. One thing that somewhat tarnished my look of Boba, the Boba's view in my eyes. One thing is that in the Clone Wars, he is this whiny, annoying little kid. I don't know if you remember that, but he is so annoying and whiny and thinks he's the coolest guy and he's so entitled in the Clone Wars. And that somewhat ruined my vision of him.
Yeah, and I'm working my way through the Clone Wars. I have never seen all of it. I've seen bits and pieces in different episodes. Currently halfway through season 2 right now. I'm really excited to go all the way through it, but I do know kind of the reputation that younger Boba had. And I honestly think that's within his character, because you're a clone in the back of your mind. You're not really your own person, but you were raised to be the son of
this legendary,
the original mold of all the clones.
And to be fair, in the
And
show,
he gets killed right in front of you.
Yeah.
In the arena on Geonosis.
Right.
So of course he's gonna think like the world is out to get him. He's gonna be really defensive and whiny. And also he knows he's genetically perfect.
Yeah.
And so he's gonna have that attitude. So that's completely expected.
And actually, that's a great thing you brought up, because I've never actually thought of it like that, which now gives a little bit of more, realism to it. But another thing that is pretty cool about him in the Clone Wars, he is really, really good at shooting and blasters and everything. Better than any of the other cadets that are his age and all of that stuff. He is just way better than them.
So that's why I believe in the deleted Clone Wars season, we got teased of a fight between Cad Bane and Boba Fett. That was supposed to be when he got that dent on his helmet. We never got to see that. So we could get that in a flashback, the explanation for the dent there.
I would love.
We could get
Cad Bane and Boba.
I want Cad Bane in live action.
That would be legendary.
With the same voice.
Because before Boba was the bounty hunter, Cad Bane was the bounty hunter.
Yep. Right. And before it was Jango.
Yeah.
So, and someone said during one of my Bad Batch videos that, like, oh, why would the Kaminoans call Cad Bane? Like, of all the people, you're making the universe too small. Like, why would you bring back a character that we've already seen before in Clone Wars? And I was thinking, well, that's not a good excuse, because if you really wanted to hire the best, you hire Cad Bane. So it's not bringing someone in that makes the universe smaller. Just as we'll get into later in this article toward the bottom, where they're talking about different characters that are coming back. It's like some people might complain against that, saying, don't bring back characters we've already seen before, because that makes the universe smaller than it is, because the universe is massive. But those players, like let's say Darth Vader, if he's hunting down Jedi at a certain point and you're a Jedi, of course Darth Vader is going to show up. Like those important people are going to show up because they're important. So let's keep going on in this article to the meat and potatoes of what I wanted to talk about. So starting right here, if the Book of Boba Fett teaser trailers released so far seem to be a bit less than epic, is due to a deliberate act of restraint. The producers have only revealed footage from the 7-episode season's opening minutes. And this is another quote from Robert. We can't use the second half of the first episode because it gives so much away. But the basics are that Boba and his assassin partner, Fennec Shand, have taken over Jabba the Hutt's palace on Tatooine, a move that sends them on a journey into the previously unseen Star Wars underworld of crime families. So that's kind of what we assumed. But that confirms what I was saying before, in that everything we're seeing is just taking place in the first episode. And right there, just from his mouth, he says from the first half of the first episode. And he's been on record before saying that this show is going to be all killer, no filler. It's impossible to overpromise because it is going to overdeliver, which are really big claims. And of course, as the director, you want to hype up your show.
Right.
But saying something to the extent of like, I can't promise too much because you will not be disappointed. Like, that's not really something you say unless there's something to back it up.
Stating that as something that's objective, you won't be disappointed, right? That's pretty deep. Like, I mean, they said that about the Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Anyways, continue.
Yeah, but the difference is we didn't know those people were passionate about Star Wars. And this is something that I believe it was Master Paul of the Star Wars guys said the other night. I lost my train of thought. What was I saying? Oh,
Master Paul of the
people that love you can tell if someone is going to write a good Star Wars film or show or whatever based on if they were passionate about Star Wars before they were hired on. Right. Actually, no, it was Justin is Lost said that. So Justin, this is attributing it to you because it was you that said it the other night. And basically what he meant by that was if someone's a lifelong Star Wars fan and then they get hired on to do a Star Wars film, they're going to do it correctly because they're already passionate about the source material and about the existing universe. But if someone's a director, even if they're a great director and they get hired on, anyone who gets hired on is going to become a Star Wars fan after working on the project.
Oh yeah.
You can take anyone and be like, hey, you're the grit boy, like you're the stagehand for this Star Wars project. Of course, they're going to be a Star Wars fan after that.
Yeah.
Which is what we saw with J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson is like, oh yeah, I can direct a Star Wars movie. And then of course they're going to say they're Star Wars fans after. But you can tell if like Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, Robert Rodriguez, these people are passionate about Star Wars even before they had these major roles in Lucasfilm. So I think that's really telling. And I think even though they're promising, just like they did in The Last Jedi, that I think it is actually going to deliver. Now, whether it's going to deliver correctly to everyone's expectations of what they personally want out of the show, that's a different question. But we will see. I don't know. I'm hyped. And just based on that, we only saw 1/14 essentially of the season in the teaser trailers we've gotten so far. It's just taking place in the first episode.
Yep. It's exciting.
Have you been keeping up with all the teaser trailers and stuff that's been coming out?
I haven't watched the most recent one though.
It's just like I said, little bits of information that you get in each one. It's not really anything revolutionary because it does take place in that first episode, like he was saying.
Right.
So you're not really missing anything if you miss one of the trailers, which is honestly nice. Because you see movies that when they go too in depth about what the storyline is, or they give you a couple twists and turns ahead of time before you even see it, you can kind of count on that movie to not deliver and to not be very interesting because they have to drum up that excitement and the interest before it even comes out by showing you everything in the trailer. And it seems like they're doing the opposite with this, which is good.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah. It's always good to be surprised.
Yeah, I'm sure we will be surprised. So here's another thing that says farther down in the article, Boba gives us a direct connection to the Star Wars saga since he was involved in that story. And this is Filoni saying this. This creates a nice crossover point for both classic characters and new characters. Much of The Mandalorian was new or had never been seen on screen. Through Boba Fett, we can weave some of those characters and tales together using a character we know but don't know a lot about. And Rodriguez adds that the character specifically invites a whole world from the underworld in with him. Things turn up you don't expect. You see things we could believe we got to do, or you could see things that we couldn't believe that we got to do. Every episode has big surprises. And I think kind of to leapfrog off the point you made at the beginning of the video, when you said you're not as excited for this simply for the fact that it's not new and revolutionary.
Right.
I think they're leapfrogging off of what The Mandalorian did, because I don't want to say didn't have direction, but you could tell some of the episodes were kind of like, different directors, and they didn't connect as well as they probably could have. The overall story was fine and the characters were fine, but the individual episodes didn't weave in and out as well as they probably could have.
Right.
It seems like they're going to remedy that this time around, where they're definitely going to make a cohesive storyline through all the episodes. And maybe that's what he means by all killer, no filler, in that we're not going to have any filler episodes.
No more Martez sisters?
No more Martez sisters. And I would hope there's no filler with only 7 episodes. Like if there's 2 episodes that are filler, that's coming up on a third of your entire series. And we still don't know if we're getting a season 2 or not.
Right. What I am most excited about for the Book of Boba Fett in general is that we're actually getting to see, in Mandalorian, we got a little bit more of that realism factor where we're not looking at Jedis or we're not looking at Sith, right? We're not looking at these mystical forces and powers. We're watching real world Mandalorian blaster fights, cantinas, all like bounties, all that cool stuff that we want from Star Wars, right? what I'm most excited for is we're getting more of that in more depth. We're getting the real world Boba Fett and people who aren't, for the most part, aren't force sensitive and actually have to use their skills to survive, and all of the realism that comes with the big cities and all that kind of cool stuff.
That is exactly correct. And I wanted to share something, if I can pull it up real quick. There it is. A poll that I put on my YouTube community tab. The question was, what would you like to see the most from the Book of Boba Fett? 0% of the people said intense action sequences, probably because that's a given. It's Robert Rodriguez, who directed, if I'm not mistaken, the episode of The Mandalorian where Boba Fett comes back, and he's beating up the plastoid armor of the stormtroopers. So action is kind of a given. So I'm assuming people aren't really looking to get that out of it because they are assuming it's coming anyway. 50% of my subscribers that answered this question said they are looking to get out a dark, gritty, and realistic storyline.
Oh yeah,
which is what you were talking about.
Yep.
In that people are wanting that realism. The space wizards and the mighty mystical force and the lightsabers and laser swords and all space battles, and that's all cool. And it is original Star Wars. But what we're wanting out of this is the realism, to let us know what's going on. And when they're talking about that, they are going to unite the criminal underworld essentially, and see all those extra characters that in the crime syndicates, like, well, what do we got? Black Sun.
Yep, Black Sun. I'm excited
Pikes,
for Black Sun. Pikes,
Crimson
Sun.
Dawn. Mm-hmm. Like, there's so many different little criminal organizations, and I've said this before. Imagine if Boba unites all of those.
Oh yeah,
under his own banner.
But you know what I mean.
And what if that's the reason that the New Republic never reaches the full strength that it should have? Is because Boba Fett is powerful enough to rival them in some aspect. And we don't know where the story's going to go or how Thrawn's going to come into play with it. That's probably going to be revealed in Ahsoka. But that's really cool to think about. So that's what my subscribers wanted out of it. That's personally what I want to get out of it. And just 100%. The fact that 50% of the people that answered that question,
everyone's on the same
answered it that way. Exactly. That's what they're thinking about. What are you looking to get out of it personally? For you?
Literally, like I said before, real world Star Wars, no laser swords, no space battles, no space horses.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, I'll say you would probably be okay with it if it was added in tastefully and correctly. Like Luke was in Mandalorian.
Correcting myself. I'm not saying I don't want any of that. I'm saying that we can have a focus on the real world stuff. And if something happens, like a Jedi shows up or something crazy like that, something really cool, I would totally be cool with it and excited for it. But I don't want the main focus on the Force and dark and light and all that stuff. Because we've had that in every single movie. So
it would mean more. It just at the end of Rogue One. It meant so much more that we saw Darth Vader's hallway scene, because you got to see how much of a like 5 tiers above the rebels that Darth Vader was. There's nothing they could do to fight against him. Nope. The same with
you can hand it through the doorway. That's it.
Exactly. The same with how Din Djarin was fighting against the Dark Trooper, just a single Dark Trooper, and then Luke comes in. He's on a whole nother level, and he just takes them all out. And so, adding that more mystical aspect of Star Wars in tastefully into this series, I think could work really well. But as a primary focus, I'm right there with you. Like, give me the realism. Stick with blasters.
Real quick before you move on, I think you might be proud of me for this. I just finished season 2 of Rebels, so
nice. Is it getting okay?
It's getting good. You know what's funny? You know what I realized? The droids and a lot of the surfaces are the exact same animations from Clone Wars, just not the people for some reason.
Yeah, it's just style differences, and some people can't get past it. But if you can, there's really good information in Rebels. There's a lot of stuff to get out.
I was freaking out during the whole Sith temple scene.
Yes.
I was freaking out where Ahsoka was like, I'm not leaving you, not again. And he's like, you will die. Right? Like, I was sick. I was freaking out because you could see half of his face, that was so cool.
And I saw an edit between the last time Anakin and Ahsoka saw each other and then the next time Anakin and Ahsoka saw each other. And it was after she gets her lightsabers, they're going to split ways. He's going to go to Coruscant to rescue Palpatine. And he kind of like looks back at her, smiles, and then turns his head. And they edited in right after that where Vader looks up and you can see his eye out of his helmet. Ahsoka. You know, it was really cool. Really powerful as well. But anyway, getting back to this article, I wanted to focus on this line again. It says Boba gives us a direct connection to the Star Wars saga since he was involved in that story. Again, this is Filoni talking. It creates a nice crossover point for classic characters and new characters. So the question I have, do you think that's talking about classic characters such as Bosk and Dengar?
That'd be cool.
Or do you think even bigger, Mace Windu and other bigger players, Darth Vader even in flashbacks or whatever?
I feel like that would be really cool. That could be the Force aspect that we might be getting, because I'm assuming, I'm really hoping that they're going to have a major aspect on the nitty-gritty stuff. That flashbacks of those people could be the stuff that they want to show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Force kind of stuff. But I'm on the same page with you. That would be so cool if they showed different people throughout the Star Wars universe that aren't super popular people. Cad Bane, Boss, you got all of these people. That would be really cool, because the people who know who they are, they would be freaking out, right? Like it would just, it's appealing to the right crowd is what I'm trying to say. That would be really cool.
Yeah. I'm excited. It seems like they have the right people for the job, because Tamara Morrison obviously is huge into Star Wars. He was the clones, and then playing Boba Fett in Mandalorian. Like he's there for it. You know that he's not just an actor like Pedro Pascal or some of the other people that were just kind of brought on. And Ming-Na Wen is obviously really passionate about Star Wars. The people that are making it are really passionate about Star Wars. So I'm hyped for it. I'm ready to jump on the hype train. And if it disappoints me, it's going to hurt, but it's so hard to keep your guard up. Like everyone talks about the phrase cautiously optimistic because we've been hurt in the past. Everyone's trying to keep their guard up.
TLJ.
But it's really, really hard to keep that caution up with the Book of Boba Fett. I'm so hyped for it. So if you're right there with me, we'll jump in together, and we'll be having streams talking about it, breaking it down. I'm going to try to do reactions to the different episodes, because those are pretty popular on YouTube. But we'll see. I'm not going to guarantee anything because I don't know my schedule. This is going to be in the new year.
Right.
But just being able to talk about it, it's going to be so dope. And I feel like I watched the episode of The Mandalorian again, where Boba Fett comes back in his armor. It's cool because it almost seems like it validates the hype that people have given Boba Fett over the years without being able to see it on screen. We've never really seen him in full action before, except for a few seconds in Return of the Jedi.
Standing on it,
yeah. But like he used the knee rockets. Like I had a video come out the other day talking about his knee rockets, and we've never seen him used before until The Mandalorian. Like that validated Boba Fett's character and his power and his ability for a lot of people, and it's going to be really cool to see that in The Mandalorian.
Let me get your
Book of Boba Fett, rather.
Right. Let me get your take on this. Which armor do you think looks cooler? This is a subjective question. Which armor do you think looks cooler? Boba Fett's armor, full suit and everything, or Din Djarin's?
Boba Fett's.
Okay. And
with the new paint job, all scraped up and stuff, and the braids and the yellow stripes, it looked classic, but okay, which is what we saw in the movies. But with his new paint job and the red markings, which signifies honoring your ancestry, taking off the hairs, the little scalps essentially was what they were. I think it's pretty dope looking. Mandalorian's kind of cool, but I don't know. And I would be really hard pressed to choose between the repainted Boba Fett and the original Jango Fett armor.
I know which one I picked for both of those.
All right, give me your answers real quick, and then we'll sign off.
Din Djarin, Mandalorian, and Jango Fett.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah. Boba Fett's armor's cool. I'm not a huge fan of the green. Doesn't matter what other color it's matched with.
See, with his repaint, it's more of like an army green, as opposed to like the other green.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's got like a matte forest army green color. It's cool.
Okay, while we're on the topic of cool Mandalorian armor, from season 8 of Clone Wars, what's his face that puts the spikes on his helmet after Maul takes command? You know what I'm saying? The red and black. I don't know his name, but you know the armor I'm talking about.
Yeah, the guy that looks like a youth pastor.
yeah.
Yes, what's his name? Oh my gosh. Hold up. I'm going to look it up. I don't know why I cannot remember this. Gar Saxon.
Gar Saxon.
How could we not remember
Gar
that?
Saxon's in Rebels. He was just in the episode I just
yes,
watched.
He is.
That's funny.
Yeah. Rebels gets really good, especially when you get to the world between worlds and the Emperor comes in. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up.
All for blinding Kanan.
Yes, dude. Yes. Oh, you're going to get heartbroken. It's going to happen. And we're going to have a little video talking about that after it happens. And maybe you'll know what I'm talking about.
Maybe I just won't watch the rest.
It's going to kill you.
I don't know.
It's going to kill you. I will just say, should I even say? Kanan doesn't stay blind forever.
Oh?
The Force works in mysterious ways. But to everyone watching, thank you very much for making it to the end of this very long video. I know it's a different format than I usually use. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed talking about it. We're just sitting down, drinking coffee, or whatever that is. Is that a Calypso? What?
Isopure.
I don't know what that is.
It's like a protein drink.
It's a California drink. Anyway, thank you everyone for stopping by. Really appreciate it. You guys are all awesome. Everyone that's subscribed in the last few months since I started my channel, I really appreciate you guys. We're building a really cool community here. And let me know in the comments down below if you are jumping aboard this hype train as well, or if you're still holding on to that cautious optimism. Let me know in the comments down below. If you've made it this far in the video, here's a pretty hefty sip for you.
With my real mustache. As you can see, my real.
And I will see you wherever I happen to see you in the galaxy.